This is my office. My desk setup consists of your typical IKEA Alex drawers with a butcher block top from Home Depot used as the desktop. However, something is missing. I really want to add some shelves to add some decor and maybe even hold my 3D printer. Now unfortunately, finding shelves that fit the exact dimensions of this space is going to be tough. So what can I do? It looks like I'm going to have to build my own. So follow along on my custom shelf build. So the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is take some measurements. So first off, we're going to start with the width, and I'm going to take into account the size of the quarter round. So it leaves me with about 15 inches in width, about a little under 23 inches in depth. We're looking at just under 29 inches in height for the bottom portion of the shelf. My ceiling height is about 86 inches. I'm probably going to go with about 72 inches in height, just so I still have usable space on the top of the shelf. So now that I have my measurements, we can plug everything into SketchUp and build a little mock-up of what we're trying to do here. So here's a quick mock-up that I came up with in SketchUp. I could go with a white frame, but I think black would add a nice bit of contrast to the rest of the setup. The centers of the shelves will be wood and will be stained to match the desktop. I decided to go with square tubing for simplicity of the build and to help maintain an overall cleaner look. Basically, the shelving unit is going to consist of a large bottom shelf for stability with 2 floating shelves on each side. Each of these would be its own individual unit. And then I plan to make this top section a separate piece for easier assembly and to help making moving things in and out of a garage a lot easier. Here's a quick mock-up of what it should look like in the office. So without further ado, let's start building. I ended up going with 1 1/4 inch square tubing with an inner wall thickness of 0.065 inches. It's readily available even at stores like Home Depot, and is very easy to work with. Once I got my measurements onto the tubing, I was able to start my cuts with my chop saw. Here, I'm cutting the center braces for the rear portion of the shelf. Once I had all my pieces cut out, I started mocking things up on my fixture table. The key to good welds is prep. I always make sure to clean off all of my pieces down to bare metal in every area that will be getting welded. It helps to do all of the prep work prior to getting everything clamped down. This way, you don't have to reset everything when you move on to your next weld. My table isn't very large, so rather than tacking all of the pieces into place, I ended up welding every support brace one by one. Once the center braces were welded to one of the primary support tubes, I went ahead and attached the second support tube. So I think this is a good stopping point for today's episode. Next week I'm going to be starting on welding out the lower portion of the shelf, which is essentially just going to be a large box. That wraps up today's episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace!